Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. This is my review for episode 12. So obviously this will contain spoilers for episode 12, so I hope you guys are all aware of that. Yeah, big episode. This episode was actually a really big one in terms of directing the entire story in a certain direction. We understand who the villains are now. We know where everyone stands. And now it's just sort of about, catching up basically to the ending events of episode 9, which we seem to be very close to catching up to that. I'll say that there seems to be I'll talk about in a second, but there seems to be this tonal shift that happens here with 12 and going into the 13, because I've seen the episode 13 trailer. We're going in that direction, and I think we're going to get there, like for sure by episode 14, but yeah, I'm very excited about that. So obviously, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this, and also thank you guys so much for joining on Twitch and being there with me while I watched the episode and asking all the questions and whatnot. That was definitely a lot of fun. If you want to follow me on Twitch, the link is down below. The channel name is Appetite for the Dead. But let's actually get into the episode here. So there's a lot of storylines here. I guess the first thing I want to get into is the Max and the Eugene storyline, which is actually officially over now. We're in this era now with that story where they can just sort of focus on their relationship, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of consequences. A lot of interesting things. The episode started off with sort of a flashback to just what Stephanie was doing. She built the radio, and then you just kind of see things play out. It seems like, wait, did I say Stephanie? I meant Max if I said Stephanie, but Max basically the whole time knew nothing of what was happening between the fake Stephanie, who we now know as Shira, and Eugene. Like, she had no idea. She thought that she was, because Mercer, her brother, found out about the whole thing, and she stopped communicating, and she just thought, well, I'm totally fine. Like, everything about this should be fine. And I think overall, she just kind of felt like there was no issues with anything. For the most part, everything was basically normal. But then she saw Eugene at the ice cream stand, and then she heard his voice, and she was just like, what the hell? Why is he here? And then she was kind of stunned by all that. So she had no idea of the whole thing, and yeah, she basically just tells her story to Eugene, and Eugene kind of freaks out a little bit. But then in the end, it kind of seems like they are a thing. They got along really well. Honestly, I love the scenes there at the end. I think it all actually worked out really well for that story. I'm really, really excited. I'm really, really hyped to see where they're actually going to go now with their relationship. Because I actually think that out of all the couples on the show, they're actually the most fun to watch, because they're actually like, I don't know, maybe it's because it's just early on, but it just kind of feels like there's something real there. You can totally buy their relationship, and yeah. So I'm really happy that basically all that is over now. Everything's kind of done with that. But I do wonder with, the fake Stephanie, her name was Shira, I wonder what is going to happen there. If Eugene runs into her again, and just that, like, that obviously there's that element to it that's not completely over yet. So I want to see where that goes. Also, the reason why they used the name Stephanie was because that was Max's mother's name. So Mercer and Max's mother is named Stephanie. So that's kind of cool. The other big storyline besides that was, I guess, the Ezekiel and Carol thing. And basically it was what we all expected. I even tweeted about this earlier in the week. I was like, what if Ezekiel just refuses the surgery? And he basically did. He was like, well, I don't want to cut in line. I don't want to do that to people. Have you been in the hospital? I've seen how those people are suffering. And Carol was like, yeah, but what, you're just going to die because the system is broken? Like, you have an opportunity here to actually, do better. And so Ezekiel, I think in the end, decides to get the surgery, and it just sort of ends on a cliffhanger. You don't know if he got it or not. So the next time we see him, I think he'll be totally fine. I think that the surgery will go well. I do feel confident in that. And I really think he might just feel guilty about it for a while. Like, he's like, yeah, I guess I beat this and I'm fine now, but I feel guilty because there might be someone else who's going to die now because of that, right? And this could push Ezekiel into a certain direction where he's actually trying to take down some of these people, trying to actually get people to be a little more accepting and not have the system so broken. So he might try to fight for that and go in that direction there. We'll see, but it kind of feels like it. It feels like this is Ezekiel's next direction here in this story. I was honestly, I'm really happy because I thought he was going to die soon, but he seems to be good. He seems to actually be fine. So I'm really happy about this. So definitely at this point, he doesn't seem to be a big death in terms of that, but we're going to have to see where they're actually going to go here. But obviously the big storyline here was Pamela Milton, and her arrival at all the communities and trying to convince them to join the Commonwealth. So we didn't learn much of really any details about what they want, but it's basically like, if you join the Commonwealth, all of these places here become the Commonwealth. So the rules that would come with that, right? I think they all understood that. Aaron was like, yeah, I'm totally cool with actually joining. Everyone else was fine. Oceanside was actually fine. And that's right, we saw Oceanside. We actually saw Oceanside. We didn't see Luke, though, which I just felt like, what? Really? You're going to Oceanside and you're not even going to show Luke? That is crazy. But no, we just saw Rachel. We didn't even see Cindy. Yeah, I guess they're kind of just done now. Like, I don't really see a point in bringing them back at all. I really don't even think they're going to make an appearance in the final season. I think they're just kind of done now, but still cool to see the ocean side. You know, it's a pretty cool community. There was actually a Pamela and Deanna Easter egg, and a lot of us wondered about it for a while, but we actually did get the scene where we do see Pamela looking at a photo of Deanna and being like, wow, she looks just like I remember. Which is like, whoa, what? And Daryl's also shocked. Daryl's like, what the hell, you knew her? And Pamela's like, oh yeah, she was so ambitious. And they seem to actually really like each other. And back then, Pamela wasn't all about politics. It kind of seemed like she just got into that more recently, which is really interesting thing to her backstory, you know, to think that she wasn't really into all that. So it kind of seems like she was forced into it because of her family and stuff. So yeah, and then she asked about how she died. And I think that's one of the really cool things with this episode was it really showed the differences between like Pamela Milton and like Daryl and Maggie's group. You know, like our group is so skilled, is so capable. Pamela Milton really isn't. There's actually a really great scene with Maggie where there's two walkers that actually show up to Pamela Milton and Maggie's little meeting that they're having outdoors. And Pamela Milton goes to kill a walker and she shoots the walker with a shotgun or whatever rifle. And it's so overkill. And then Maggie just goes and like, you know, kills it with a knife. And she's kind of looking at Pamela like, oh, okay, I guess that works. And that's the thing that is so hard about the whole thing is that the Commonwealth, they are so like, it's you want that life. And Diane actually in the episode does decide to leave. And we'll get to that in a second. But you really see that a lot in this episode. Like you really see that, yeah, the Commonwealth is a really good place to be in. And honestly, it doesn't seem like Pamela Milton is really all that bad. There's still things there, but it doesn't seem like it's all bad with her, right? It seems like there's other people who are definitely like you have to worry about them a little bit more. We did get the confirmation that there are 50,000 people. Like I've sort of assumed it by now, but we actually heard it in this episode. So yeah, 50,000 people at the Commonwealth. That's really, really insane. Mercer and Daryl are really starting to form a really cool friendship here. And I'm really excited to see where that's going to go because Mercer seemed honestly like he was asking Daryl about like, so you guys were like some leaders here, this and that. And Daryl's like, yeah, you know, we did this and our community fell, but then we rose again. And then people would come try to take it over. And then it fell, but then we brought it back again. And Mercer was just like, damn, like he was kind of amazed by it. And he was looking at like Maggie, Daryl and everyone like, you guys are the leaders of this place. It's all equal here with you guys, but you guys don't treat anyone else different. Mercer really seemed to admire all of that and really liked the way that they lived, which, yeah, you know, like they are really starting to seed in these ideas here. We saw in episode 11, we saw Mercer get pissed off because Tyler Davis was taken away under his own authority. And in episode 10, we saw some stuff there that happened when he went to the dance or the ball or whatever the hell they call it. And then here in episode 12, there was a lot more of it where he kind of sees the other side and that there is another way to live. And so I think at a certain point this season, if there is that option where it's like, yeah, there is another way to live, you can actually do this. And there's actually a rebellion here forming. I think Mercer's going to make that switch pretty easily. But there's got to be a moment where he does snap. And I really can't wait for that moment because in the comic, it does happen. Yeah, I think he's in a locker room or something like that. He's taking off his armor. And then I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm going to have to read the issues, but he just kind of snaps and he's like, screw it. And then I think he actually says to Rick, like you're the leader we need. So I can't wait. Like, who's going to get that scene? You know, is it going to be Daryl? Is he going to be talking with Daryl? He snaps and then he just like points at Daryl and he's like, you're the leader that we need. You know, I think that'd be that'd be a crazy scene. But this episode had basically 3 storylines. We had the Max and Eugene thing. We had, you know, that was more of a C kind of B plot. We had the Ezekiel and Carol stuff, which was like another B plot, C, B plot. But the main plot, the A plot was all the stuff with Pamela Milton meeting all of the communities. So I'm happy we got it. In the end, Maggie basically said no, you know, because I think she could see all of it. And man, Lance is the one that you got to worry about because there was a scene there where he's talking with Maggie and he's really trying to convince her. And it seemed like it was kind of working for a little bit because he was like, could you imagine taking your son to you know, his freshman year at college? Could you imagine bringing him to a concert at the Commonwealth and everything like that? And man, those things obviously Maggie as a mother is going to want to, you know, give to her son. but I like the fact that she's sticking to her values here, and Lance did not seem to like that. And honestly, Pamela Milton in the episode, once she found out no, like the communities don't want to join, she was kind of like, okay, well, whatever. You know, she kind of moved on a little bit, which is interesting. So she does some corrupt things. Obviously, there's some stuff there potentially with the CRM, and also I will say I don't know if it's necessarily with the CRM, like, or not that, but I don't know if she's aware of it. It kind of feels like Lance is the one that does all the shady stuff, because Pamela Milton calls him out here. She's like, you know what, like, you just want to do all this because you want to lead these communities. And that was sort of the big reveal here. Is it seems like Lance is kind of the bigger villain here as of now, anyways. It kind of feels like he's more of the bigger villain here, where he's the one who's doing some pretty messed up stuff here. He wants to lead the communities, and that's why he wants Alexandria, the Hilltop, and Oceanside to join, because he actually wants to be the leader of all three. Which is, I mean, obviously we're not going to like that because we like Maggie, the leader of the Hilltop, and whatnot, right? So yeah, some definitely a really, really great episode. I really enjoyed this, and again, this episode revealed some really good things. It put us on this path. And now we're going forward in a certain direction. So I really can't wait to see where we're going to go with this, because this is a little different from the comics. So yeah, Lance is sort of the bigger villain here who's doing a lot of things. So to me, that was a really big reveal. I really liked the ending. It kind of seemed like he snapped there at the end. And I really can't wait to see where we're going to go here with Lance, because in episode 13, that trailer looks like we're going in a certain direction, and I wonder if the New Frontier is actually going to be involved. Anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.